been a minute. You are listening to and are watching Bewitched Banter. Yes. We got our background set up, trying to look semi-professional.
Killing it, Amy is. I got the ghetto influencer lighting situation. She's got full-on Oprah lighting over here. We do.
In all fairness, you're doing a lot better than you normally do, because usually your camera's stacked up against a bunch of books.
She's not wrong. But I finally got like a little stand for my photography, hopefully. So we'll be aight.
So guess what clock it is?
What clock?
It's cult o'clock.
Oh, shit.
Buckle up, bewitches, because we are getting into Children of God.
Okay. Fuck yeah. I've heard of it, but I don't even remember what it is. So please indulge us.
I was wondering how much of this story you already knew, because I heard of Children of God, but I didn't really know any of the details.
Yeah, same. Because I was thinking of Mother God, which is totally different.
Oh, was that the Netflix special where her skin turns blue?
Yeah, and her name was Amy, actually.
Oh my God, that's right. She's an alcoholic.
Oh my God, Amy in 10 years. Which, P.S., I'm definitely turning into more of a skeptic, and I thought maybe Amy was turning into a little bit of a believer on our numerology episode, but she did a really good job. Good job on appearances, because you weren't rebuking our guest. Thank you, P.S.
I'm not an asshole. I can read a room. I know when it's time to push someone when it's not. And she didn't seem like she would want to indulge in any of the debates.
Anyhow, I'm turning into a skeptic, thankfully. So maybe Bewitched Banter is doing its job.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a whole different premise, because they're like, these two bitches just talk about they don't believe in shit. It's boring.
No, that's a stretch for me still, but
you're gonna get there eventually.
I'm getting more skeptical for sure.
This is like the DARE program, but it's been the long game to get you to see this whole podcast. That's all bullshit.
12 steps. Wait, I thought it was my dating app. That was my premise.
There's been no action on that, so we know that's not your dating podcast.
I know I can't. Anyway.
Okay, but let me get into
Children
the cult. They're going to say Children of the Corn. Children of God. So they were also known as the Family International and Teens for Christ, the Family of Love, or simply the Family. This is probably why you've heard of this cult, is because Joaquin Phoenix and Rosa McGowan was in the cult.
Yes. Okay. This ringing a bell because we mentioned that factoid in the other cult episode.
We've had a lot of cult episodes.
The one where she has a funny name and I'm blanking. Teal Swan. Sorry, there it is. Teal Swan. Oh yeah. Okay. That's right.
Phoenix's family was in South America and they were expats, and they were really attracted to the fact that it was like this spiritual hippie community. Mm-hmm. And from what people have gathered, it was just a short, brief amount of time, and he's never publicly talked about it. Where the opposite for Rose McGowan, she has been very open. I think she wrote like a book or did an interview. Anyway, her family is like really scary. They had to flee in the middle of the night in a cornfield running, and it was like thundering, and they found this old abandoned stone house and locked themselves in it. And they said people were like trying to break in with hammers and stuff.
Was it her and just children? Other children?
It was her dad,
so adults too. Wow.
Her dad's wife at the time, because not her mom, and then her stepsister and stepbrother. And like one of those moments, like running for your life feeling. I was like, that's terrifying. Shit. But yeah, so she came out and talked about it, and one of her quotes was, "This is so heartbreaking. I was not molested because my dad was strong enough to realize the hippie love had gone down south." Because her dad's the one who decided to leave, is the reason she probably would have been.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was a lot to take in right now.
Sorry.
With this weed drink.
I said buckle up. It's fucked up stuff. Oh, and then there's a few other people I will mention. I don't know these people, but they're celebrities, so I'm sure you probably won't either. But Christopher Owens, he was from an indie band, The Girls. Susan Justice, pop rock singer known for Subway recordings. I thought this was really interesting. Juliana Burring, she was the first woman to cycle around the entire world.
Cool.
Yeah. There's so many journalists, authors that were in this cult. It was, when I was looking on Wikipedia, it was like a list of 15 people.
Did they go undercover, or it was just that they
They were in the cult.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and they're also...
And then could write about that crazy experience after.
Yeah, they were like famous authors or journalists before, too, some of them.
Oh, shit. That's not cool.
And I just thought it was crazy how, like, a bunch of them went to the arts probably for, like, healing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Definitely. Absolutely.
Oh, my God. Sorry. It tastes so good.
Thanks, Sunday Goods.
We're drinking orange poppy. You squeeze some half lemon in it, and then you get vanilla creamer, whip it up, and just pour a little bit. It's like a creamsicle. It's like Heaven's Kiss. That's my cult. That would be a good cult name, Heaven's Kiss. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I would search for it.
The cult still exists today, but they do have less members, and they have more of an online presence, which we'll get into later.
So that's where it's at now. All these cults can percolate and populate all these underground networks. So scary, just like we were talking about.
Thankfully, I think it only has 1,500 members compared to what it used to be. That
Children of the Corn or Children of God or QAnon?
No, I'm talking about Children of God.
Got it.
Okay. So in the 70s and 80s, it was like their peak, and it's predicted they had like tens of thousands of members at that point, and they were all over the world. That's a lot. Due to allegations coming out, that is when the numbers started to dwindle. Mm-hmm. Several rebranding efforts happened, and a lot of missionary work to get all these followers. It started in 1960 by David Berg, and he referred to himself as Moses, David, father of David.
King, they all think they're fucking Jesus.
Yes, it's always the Jesus complex.
I can't. You're not.
Yeah. Or the last end time prophet. And it started as a Christian commune.
Okay.
And then it evolved into a cult. Because as we know, like none of these things happen overnight. He was a former Christian pastor, and he was part of what was called a missionary alliance, which is a missionary organization that emphasized on evangelicism and social outreach and discipleship. Okay. So to me, that sounds scary in itself. I don't know if that's just me. He started
sounds like a lot of big words and a lot of like bullshit.
Yeah. He started as an evangelical pastor, and then he hosted meetings for reborn again people, which those people are the worst. Sorry. So that's really mean. I shouldn't say they are the worst. Some people do need to find Jesus.
Do they? Not some do for real. They have nothing else, but
we're gonna get canceled for that. Oops. Okay, what were we saying? No, just kidding.
Born agains are the worst.
He's hosting these meetings for people, these born agains. Get off my yard.
What you mean, those people?
Get off my lawn. That's what I meant, not my yard. But he hosted meetings for them in a coffee shop in Huntington Beach. So if you can only imagine. Roughy. So probably the most obnoxious hippies of all. In 1969, he convinced his followers that there was going to be an earthquake in California. And so that's when they hit the road and they leave. And
well, also too, we know California is gonna get hit by earthquakes. Like we know that by the 70s. Like you're not a fucking prophet because you're predicting an earthquake in California.
That's like part of his whole thing too. Is I receive messages from God. I'm his prophet. I can talk to him. We'll get into it more, but yeah, the God complex, as simple as the God complex. So they get the fuck out of Dodge, and from there they go to the streets. Street living and distribute pamphlets and proselytize. Try to get people to join them. Come on, join my cult. They started to build communes all over the country. Since they were scattered throughout the country, they had become pen pals with David. So he would have to write letters to spread his message. Okay. Isn't that so weird to think about?
Letters?
I know. Because we're like, oh, what? Now you can get an instant. And they called them Mo, and like M-O, Mo letters. He published over 3,000 letters in the time span of 24 years. Yeah. And these letters told a story of David as God's prophet for the contemporary world. But he also tried to show he had shortcomings too. So he wanted to be like, I speak to God, but I'm also you. And he so one letter he divulged he was an alcoholic and he had his weaknesses and things to he was imperfect. He wanted to get that across, but then also he was like, but I have these imperfections, so I'm not God, but I'm receiving messages from God.
Okay, very strategic leadership move.
Yeah. Maybe it made people feel like emotional, sorry for him. I don't know.
And they could relate to him because he's not God the Almighty, quote unquote.
I don't know what kind of mind game it was, but it's fucked.
One that works, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yes. He was pretty successful. I'll give him that. Like most cults, we know it was like this. He had his members isolate, don't talk to people who aren't in the cult. Mm-hmm. Your typical 101 beginners cult. If you're going to create one, that's what you do.
Beginners cult. The cults for beginners.
And he did the whole
for dummies.
Yeah,
Amy Holt.
Just listen in. I'll give a tip every week. And he was a doomsday cult as well.
Okay.
The world's gonna end. We're gonna be the chosen ones. We'll rebuild the community. All that BS. And they could. What are you laughing at?
All that BS.
Casual. All that BS. Batch. Let me snap my fingers. You want me to talk shit about your cult? I'll do it.
That's right.
Okay.
Go for it.
They consider themselves Christian.
Okay.
We all do. Thoughts and prayers. Evangelicism was a big focus in the group. Members would write and make art. They also had spirit helpers. And so spirit helpers were referred to spiritual beings or entities that members believed were assisting them in their spiritual journey. So angels, basically. And I thought Wikipedia said it was Audrey Hepburn and all these celebrities, but I couldn't confirm that anywhere else. So I didn't know if it was.
She would be dead by then, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she'd be an angel then.
Oh.
You're proving their logic. No, but I'm saying it doesn't matter who it is. I couldn't find that check that anywhere else. I didn't write it down, so I'm not sure if that's true.
Gotcha. My bad. I thought you were saying she was their mentor, not an angel. My bad. Sorry.
And they love to get freaky to Jesus, okay?
Ugh.
Air hump the air, get all into it. And they called it loving Jesus.
Okay, that's one way to get off.
They call this the bridal theology. And in simple terms, because I don't want to get too much into it, it is where Jesus would be the bridegroom and followers would be the bride. And they believe they were called to love and serve Jesus as a wifely duty. So it's you're married to Jesus. And they were encouraged to imagine Jesus joining them when they would masturbate and have sex. Male members were encouraged to envision themselves as females so they didn't come across as homosexual.
Dang, oh, homosexual.
So stupid. Okay. And then they had what was called flirty fishing. Okay.
Drag. I'm serving fish.
To recruit new members, women were convinced or voluntold to have sexual relationships. And it was to convert new members and to financially support them.
Using the puss. Power of the puss. That's smart.
Yeah, but it's awful.
Whoa. But obviously it works.
I know, but so David's daughter came forward and said it was probably one of the world's largest prostitute networks.
Oh, in that case.
Yeah. That's why I was let's calm down. Yeah.
My bad.
I was you're getting really excited. I was no, I think this is good. It's a bummer. Some sects of the cult actually would use escorts to convert members. So they would pay escorts to convert people. Isn't that crazy?
Do the escorts have to be in the cult?
I don't know if they even need to be in the cult. I think it didn't really tell me that.
Interesting.
Women were taught basically and brainwashed to believe that their body was for Jesus, you need to have sexual relationships that you don't want to have. They use God and religion to make them feel guilty for not wanting to have sexual relationships with them. And so for this reason, women would go out, like I said, and try to recruit new members because they were brainwashed and had these unwanted sexual relationships just because it's not their body, it's God's body. And this is
so disgusting.
And this is one of the many contributing things that came out that like led to their fall, to them losing a lot of members. And the leaders were called the Chain, which I think is like creepy. It's believed that they had almost 223,989 people that they had sexual contact with because of the
probably
cult.
all unprotected too.
I bet it was a lot more. Like, how do they even predict that number? 300 people came forward, and David denied all the allegations, and this is one of the reasons they had their downfall.
Okay.
300. Okay, who wouldn't believe that at that point? In 1993, Davis was accused of sexually abusing his own daughter and granddaughter. The Chain, the leadership, are known for sexually assaulting children too. So it's very awful. When these allegations came forward, he fled from Argentina to Portugal. He died in Portugal a year later. David's widow, her name is Karen Zerby, remarried to Stephen Kelly. And that was David's assistant who actually handpicked her to be his bride. So arranged marriage type. And these were now the two new leaders of the cult. Karen rebranded herself as the Queen and the Prophetess. Her husband called himself King Peter.
Original, bro.
King Peter partook in more public speeches and had more public appearances than the original guy ever did. So he was like working on his PR. And part of this reboot of rebranding, they're doing like their damaged goods PR tour, and they're calling it their reboot.
As one does.
Yeah, so things are different now. And the reboot entails that, surprise, Jesus Christ wasn't going to return anytime soon.
Sorry, got you again.
Yeah, so maybe we should think about a new future, the reboot. Because our prophecy was total bullshit.
Yes.
In 1974, New York's Attorney General said that there were 120 communes at that point. By 2006, there were about 1,400 communes across 120 countries.
And that's recent.
Yeah, I was like, that's a lot.
That's really recent.
Yeah. In 2010, they had another rebranding tour. Now it's called the Family International, and decided to become an online network with 1,500 members in 80 countries. And so it was like, this is a humanitarian effort. That was their branding. A spokeswoman came out in 2019, which was a huge dig and a fuck you to the victims and survivors.
Oh, no.
She said, she came out and apologized for the number of occasions former members had been hurt, real or perceived.
And hurt doesn't equal raped, tormented, abused.
Yeah.
No. Hurt, fuck you. I know she's doing her job as the quote spokeswoman.
Yeah, but still.
Like, that's why I can't represent bad people or politicians. Fuck that.
No. Mm-hmm. And they don't give credence to the tales of international abuse.
Wow.
Today, actions against the group vary depending on where they are located and allegations that have been brought forward. So they're all over the world. You can't unanimously say the cult went this direction. Mm-hmm. It's now rebranded as the Family International. So that is the fucked up cult. What do you think?
That's so fucked up. And so sorry, you said they operate today as what? The Cult International?
Oh, it's called the
Family International.
Because it's supposed to be a humanitarian effort.
Wow.
And it's all online. But it said about 1,500 members.
That's still quite a few.
That's a lot, but it's not as bad as some things out there, like QNOT.
That and the one I'm going to be covering, which is really scary because it grows, like you mentioned, online now. Everything's taking root digitally, and that's more scary, I think, because of the speed. There's no borders in which there is an issue. It's just crazy. It's really scary shit. Just be a person.
We have survived and we're not in a cult, so you could probably listen to us next week. Rate, review, and subscribe. We always forget to ask that, so if you could do that, be great. And love to see ya.
And check us out. Yeah, I said this on an episode we can't use because audio. And welcome to being an influencer. But we also, as you can see, have a video game now. So YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Find us in not just, iTunes anymore or Apple Podcasts, but YouTube as well.
Peace, bewitches.
Peace.
Thanks for listening. Check us out on Instagram or bewitchbanter.com. Suggestions for the show? Emails at bewitchbanter@gmail.com. Credits, music Phantom Fun by Jonathan Boyle from premiumbeat.com. Podcasts, edited and produced by Krista Hins and Amy Holt. As always, if you enjoyed, please rate, review, and subscribe.